As we continue, Peter Ducey is up in Washington with some info. Peter?
Brett, we've now heard from the top Democrats in Congress. Nancy Pelosi, who recently said that she's not interested in pursuing impeachment proceedings at any point against President Trump, and Chuck Schumer, who said, let's just wait for the Mueller report. So I'm going to read to you from a joint statement from both Pelosi and Schumer. It says, now that Special Counsel Mueller has submitted his report to the Attorney General, it is imperative for Mr. Barr to make the full report public and provide its underlying documentation and findings to Congress. Attorney General Barr must not give President Trump, his lawyers, or his staff any sneak preview of Special Counsel Mueller's findings or evidence, and the White House must not be allowed to interfere in decisions about what parts of those findings or evidence are made public. The Special Counsel's investigation focused on questions that go to the integrity of our democracy itself, whether foreign powers corruptly interfered in our elections and whether unlawful means were used to hinder that investigation. The American people have a right to the truth. The watchword is transparency. And separate from that, Brett, I just spoke on the phone to a key Trump ally on the Republican side on Capitol Hill who said the fact that we found out the report had been submitted but did not instantly find out about new indictments, this lawmaker thinks is a positive step for the president. And again, Republicans are seem pleased, at least for now, that the word collusion has not been used by anybody at the Justice Department, even though we don't know what's in the report. Brett.
Yeah. Peter, thank you.
We're going to bring in our panel. We have Brett Barry, chief political anchor and anchor of Special Report, Fox News at Night anchor Shannon Bream, and former DNC chairwoman and Fox News contributor Donna Brazile. It's great to have you all here. Shannon, I understand that you just got off the phone with Senator Lindsey Graham. Anything more to report?
I did, yeah. He talked about how they played golf this morning. He said what they had for lunch. The president had a turkey wrap. Everybody seemed relaxed and happy. Then this thing comes out, and Lindsey Graham says basically as he's standing there, there's a lot of excitement. He called it a home run for the president. He felt like this report could not have gone any better for him than it did. He says no collusion, no obstruction. He said it was a big day of celebrating for the president, and he felt like they had a great day anyway, that the president was very relaxed. They were enjoying golf this morning. But once that report came, it sounded like a great sense of relief for the president and those who are surrounding him. Again, Lindsey Graham's words, home run. He says it's really going to be hard for Democrats at this point to make any hay out of this. Now, listen, we know, as we've all discussed, there are other things they may look towards impeachment, some of the things going on in the Southern District with federal prosecutors. But on this point, the collusion narrative that's been going on for 2 years, completely disproven, debunked, it appears, by the special counsel, and a big day of relief for the president.
Indeed. Since we've just restarted this hour, Brett Baer, I just want to go to you for some overall thoughts before we get some good ones from Donna Brazile as well. Brett.
Yeah, sure. I think that the bottom line here is the first conclusion of this report, that no American, no one tied to the Trump campaign, no American colluded or conspired with the Russians to affect the 2016 election. That is said 3 times in this short letter summarizing the special counsel's report. And that is the bottom line. That's why this investigation started. Now, on the obstruction, it's interesting to see the news reports, Dana, in the past few minutes that start with the president not exonerated by special counsel Mueller. Right. It says that they did not reach a conclusion on the obstruction of justice, but the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General did, and said there is no reason to go forward with any crime against the president, and they determined that because there was no underlying crime of the conspiracy, they would not move forward with obstruction.
Yeah, I changed it. Is that okay?
All right, Donna Brazile, this is your first chance to comment on this news since it has just broken. Your thoughts from your personal perspective, and then I'll get some from you about what you think Democrats ought to do next.
Well, thanks so much for having me on. Let me just say I am totally gratified that the special counsel was able to complete his report. I want to say, I guess I only speak for myself, that I'm gratified that he did the work to interview those Americans, to get behind the stories, the gossip, the innuendos, and to tell us, and for me, I'm personally relieved that no American personally got involved in the Russian hacking of our elections. And the Russians attempt to destroy our democracy and weaken our democracy. I have to personally say that because, as you know, Dana, I became chair of the Democratic Party because of the hacking. So now that that part is known, and I am not seeing, or those of us who said for many, many years now that the Russians were involved and that this had an impact on our ability to conduct the election. Maybe we can, put that also as a victory for democracy. But democracy today is still on trial. And while the president can assume some sort of victory, that is personally in his purview. I think as our president, he needs to understand that this rises above just himself and his party, but it calls upon us as Americans to look at ourselves and say, okay, the Russians were at it, they did not get us, but the President of the United States now needs to understand that our democracy must be protected. If he's able to do that, then the victory is not his victory, it is our victory because we sought to protect our country.
I think overall, yes, and maybe in a few days that's how people might feel. Although, but the Democrats have said, even this morning, Chairman Nadler saying we don't, regardless of what's in the Mueller report, we're going to continue, we're going to pursue all this. We think that there is collusion. We're going to go forward with impeachment. Do you think that is wise and necessary, or would you say that the Democrats ought to figure out a way to accept this report and move on?
I think the Constitution of the United States gives the Democrats or Republicans the power of oversight, and this is about oversight. This is not just about gossip and innuendos and some partisan line that we have to poll. This is about oversight. It's their constitutional responsibility. Again, I do believe that the Democrats, their heart's in the right place, which is how do we protect our country, how do we protect our democracy, and how do we move forward? And this will require the Democrats to be careful in their evaluation of the report, which we have not seen, and to understand that we must protect our country from future hackings.
Donna, real quick question for me, and then I want to get back to Brett and Shannon as well. Do you now accept the president as the legitimate president of the United States, having won the 2016 election fair and square?
I believe that the president and his attacks on not just his opponent, but the way in which he's conducted himself in office as our president, not the Republican president, not his base, he has to prove that he is worthy of the job that George Washington held over 230 years ago. I will say this to the president, Mr. President, this is the woman you attacked, called me a liar for talking about the Russian investigation during the campaign when we were being attacked. I'm willing to accept the fact that you had nothing to do with it. If only you will spend the next 589 days in office doing everything in your office and your power as the President of the United States to protect us from future hacking once again. I'm willing to play, but don't ask me now to celebrate when I am still feeling the hurt and the pain of what happened in 2016. And I'm only speaking for Donna. I want to hear from Hillary. I want to hear from everyone else involved, Bernie and everybody who got burnt and beaten by the crap that we saw.
Pardon me one second, but Donna, on the point of what you acknowledged a moment ago, that no American, Trump official or otherwise, was involved, will you acknowledge he won the election?
I will, look, I played the game. I don't go back and relitigate 2000.
Right.
I'm not going to relitigate 2016. Ed, if I want to relitigate anything, I want to relitigate when I was 21 years old, because this is what it looks like when you're 59. I ain't relitigating anything but my age. Let's relitigate how we protect. Once upon a time, when someone won, we thought about our country first. And if we really believe in that, this is the moment we can all rise to the occasion. But Ed, let me say this again, as an American. I accept the fact that the president had no finger in it. But did he move a hand to ever stop it? And did he put something in the game to make sure it never happened again? That's how I will judge him. Now, that's just Donna. I can't speak for nobody else yet.
Okay. Let me go back to Brett. Brett, how, having heard that, do you think this president now, Brett, tries to move forward and bring the country together?
Listen, Ed, I hear what Donna's saying, but you have to understand that a lot of members of Donna's party really hammered this even just days ago, saying that there is a mountain of evidence of collusion. There's clear evidence of collusion from Adam Schiff. I think there's clearly an intent to collude. Tom Perez, a mountain of evidence of collusion. You had Brennan, the former CIA director, saying there will be indictments, possibly of the president's children, in coming days. That's just days ago on the air. And he was in office as the CIA director at the beginning of all of this. So there is a side of it that has to be ironed out post this determination. There are a lot of people that have, a lot of crow to eat after they've said what they've said in just the last couple of days.
As you say, yeah. 2 years ago, Adam Schiff said he had evidence of collusion, evidence, not allegations.
And former White House Chief of Staff Andy Card used to say, if you're going to eat crow, you better eat it fast because it doesn't taste any better the longer it sits.
Brett, quick last point.
I disagree about the crow.
Go ahead, Donna.
Brett, this is not about crow, steak, chicken, or crawfish. This is really about our country. I mean, this is a moment. Now, we keep talking about crow. Who's going to eat it? I can tell you.
I'm talking about.
We better get into
doesn't the president feel that he has been hindered in his ability to do his job by an entire effort to undermine his legitimacy? And now you have a definitive word from somebody who spent a lot of resources, almost $30 million over 2 years, that comes to a conclusion. And doesn't that mean that you have to move on and start working on legislation and not investigation?
Well, first of all, we have to evaluate it. We were told just a few minutes ago what was in the report. We have not seen any of the summaries. I mean, I want to believe when I heard from that young man, Mr. Gibson, that the Russians had no help from Americans. I want to believe that. And because I understand Mr. Mueller interviewed 500 people, had 2,900 subpoenas, I want to believe that that occurred, and I trust the fact, because I have never spent one day on air or off air criticizing the Justice Department of the United States government. The president has. All I'm asking, Brett, is to give the American people an opportunity to absorb this information. We should all celebrate the fact that no American,
we all agree.
Let me tell you,
all right, that's
good.
Great.
Let's go beyond that, and we can get there.
All right, Donna Brazile, Brett Baer, we also had Shannon Bream. Thank you so much.